Hey guys, welcome to this flip classroom on finding the percentage of amounts. Now, there's a few key equivalents that you need to know. Okay, we've talked about matching percentages with fractions and decimals in a previous session and in previous lessons. So here's just a recap. 50% as a fraction is 1/2. Okay, so if you can find a half of something, you found 50%. 25% is the same as a quarter of something. 10% is 1/10, and 1% is 1/100th. Okay, so if you can find these sort of key percentages, then you're well on your way to be able to find the percentage of any amount. So how do you find half of something, or 50%? Well, you divide by 2. Okay, the fraction tells us is the whole thing divided into 2 equal parts. So if you divide your number by 2, you've created a half of it, or 50%. A quarter, you divide by 4. It's the whole thing divided into 4 equal pieces. So if you can divide by 4, you've found 25%. A tenth, you divide by 10, the whole thing divided into 10 equal pieces. And we know how to divide by 10. We simply move all the digits one place to the right. And then for 1%, it's 100th. We divide by 100. And to divide by 100, you move all the digits 2 places to the right. Okay, so these are going to be our building blocks today for finding the percentage of any amount, or any percentage, I should say. Okay, so to calculate 50% of a value, in this case 60, all we need to do is remember that 50% is the same as a half. And to find half of 60, we divide by 2. 60 divided by 2 is 30. Okay? So it's all about remembering the fraction equivalent of the percentage. 50% is half. Half of 60 is 30. Okay, what about 25% of 60? Well, 25% is the same as saying a quarter. And to find a quarter, you simply divide by 4. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So 25% of 60 is 15. 10%. Remember, 10% is the same as 1/10. And to find a tenth, you simply divide by 10. So 10% of 60 is 60 divided by 10. The digit moves one place to the right, meaning our answer is 6. Okay, what about finding 30% then? Well, 30% isn't one of those common ones that we've looked at, but we can make it by using some of those common ones. Okay, so first of all, we're going to calculate 10%. That's one of the more straightforward ones. Okay, we know that 10% of 60 is 60 divided by 10, which is 6. But we don't want 10%, we want 30%. Now 30% is simply 3 lots of 10%. So it's 3 lots of 6. So our answer is 18. Remember, 10% is 6, so 20% would be 12, 30% is 18. Okay, I hope that's clear. Right, pause the video for a moment and have a go at these 10 questions. Okay, I'm just going to take a moment and then I will reveal the answers. So you need to pause the video if you're going to have a go. I'm going to reveal the answers in 3, 2, 1. There we are. There are the answers. And now we'll move on with the presentation. Okay, so if you can find 10% of a number, then you can find 1% and 5%. But how? Well, 100%, the whole thing is 80. 10%, remember, we divide by 10. So 10% of 80, we divide by 10, which gives us 8. The 8, the digit, moves one place to the right. So it's now in the ones column. Now to find 1%, we divide our 10% by 10 again. Okay, or we can divide the whole thing by 100. But we're going to do it in 2 steps. So we've got 10%. We're now going to divide that by 10. So we're going to move the 8 one more place to the right, which puts it in the tenths column. Okay, so 1% of 80 is 0.8 or 8 tenths. So we've now been able to calculate 100%, 10%, and 1%. And with those values, we can make any percentage we want to. What about 5%? Well, we'll start this time with 140. 10%, we move all the digits one place to the right to divide by 10. So the 1 moves from the hundreds into the tens, the 4 moves from the tens into the ones, and then the 0 moves into the tenths column, but it doesn't actually affect the number. Okay, so you can see that the 1 is now in the tens column, the 4's in the ones. 10% of 140 is 14, but we want 5%. Now, if we know what 10% is, what do you think we do to create 5%? Well, half of 10% is 5%, so we're going to divide by 2. Half of 14 is 7. Okay, so we've been able to work out 100%, 10%, and now 5%. So we can use these results to calculate any percentage by adding 10%, 5%, 1%, or the 50% we learnt about earlier. So let's say you had to calculate 12%. That's an awkward one. 12% of 180. Well, we'd start with 10%. 10% we divide by 10, so that gives us 18. We divide that again to find 1%, which would be 1.8. So we now know what 10% and 1% is, and we want 12%. Well, that is 10% plus 1% plus 1%. Can you see? 10 plus 1 plus 1 makes 12. So if we know what 10% is, and we know what 1% is, and we know what 1% is, then we can find 12%. And there's the values. 10% is 18, 1% 1.8, and 1% is 1.8. Add those all together, and you get 21.6. Okay? So, by splitting up the percentage you need into these simpler values, values like 10%, 1%, 5%, 50%, and so on, then you can build the answer that you want. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So what about 56% of 240? Let's start with 50%. Well, that will be half of that, so 120. 10% is 24. Remember, 240, all the digits move one place to the right. 5% is 12. 1% is 2.4. With those values, we can now find 56%. In fact, we don't actually need the 10%. 50% plus 5% plus 1%. So 120 plus 12 plus 2.4, giving us a total answer of 134.4. Here's a few for you to try. I've started with some of the basic percentages, just as a little bit more practice, and then we get some trickier ones at the end. Once again, pause the video. I'm going to be giving you the answers in a moment, so just a chance to press pause. I will be revealing the answers in 3, 2, 1. There are your answers. Well done if you've got all of those. Very, very well done. If you've missed a couple, just go back and double check your calculations, see if you can spot your error. Well done, and thank you for paying attention today, and we will see you next time. Take care.